Well, welcome into a very exciting episode of The Scene. I'm your host, Bubba Startz, and with me today from Be Prepared, Be Ready, Connie Meyers. Connie, welcome to the show.
I'm so excited. Thank you for having me.
Well, I needed a little reminder, so I appreciate that you had my phone number and you made sure that I got the memo. So, thank you for bearing with me today. And yeah, surprise interview for me now with a good friend. Before we get too far into it, I know we have some overlap in the worlds that we are in. But why don't you go ahead and give our listeners and viewers a little bit of backstory, and then we'll kind of dive into what you're up to now.
Okay, I used to say I was like a cat with nine lives, nine different careers. And in reality, what I learned over these last few years is that everything I've done has been in training for what I'm doing today. I was a FEMA inspector and trainer for 7 years. I did over 50 disasters myself and trained over thousands of inspectors. And I used to always say when I was doing my leadership stuff and my retreats and all that, what does that FEMA stuff have to do with anything that I'm doing today? And then in 2019, the California Association of Realtors, who has my leadership stuff, they asked me to put together a course on disasters. And so I wrote a simple little 3 hour course that I presented at their big convention. And then I had a panel for all, they have about 250 education people around the state. And so I put a panel together that had a director of the FEMA. We had the head of the LA County CERT program, the Community Emergency Response Team program. And then I had the association executive from Santa Barbara that went through the fires and the mudslides there. 129 people perished. Three of bodies have still never been found. And then the Malibu fires from 2018, a friend of mine went through it. Now she's gone through the ones that just happened. But I'm sitting there moderating this panel and I'm like, oh my God, there is so much more that needs to be said. So in the fall of 2019, I started writing a 5 hour certification course. And I actually was writing about pandemics in January. Little did we know what was about to happen. So I created a certification program, and during COVID, during 2020 and 2021, I ended up with 38 CKM advisors around the country that were realtors. And I provide them every single month with information pertinent to their location. So it didn't matter whether they were in Florida or California or Oregon. And I was sending out this information. I was doing the videos. I was sending them the transcripts so they could do the videos. And they loved the training. They all told me how much they loved it, but they weren't doing anything with it. And the whole goal was for them to become community leaders. I was speaking at the National Natural Disaster Expo, and after I got done, a woman walked up to me and she said, "You need to be a nonprofit and you need to be protecting kids." So I went back to our booth and I said, we're applying for our 501(c)(3, and our whole goal is to protect kids. And the conversation went from them thinking I'm trying to sell them something to saying, how can I be involved? And that's when I knew I was on to something. So that was the beginning of our Be Prepared, Be Ready.org. And my goal was to put together a program, and we now have it just launched last week. It's called Kits for Kids, and it's a kit. I don't know if you can see this or not. This is what it looks like. Let me see if I can hold it back far enough. It gets Velcroed into the bottom of a kid's everyday backpack. So it goes to school, the playground, activities. And in it is, first of all, a global company that has a alert system. They alert everything from terrorist attacks to abductions. And so the kids can track where the child is. It has something called Bleed Stop, which is a company out of Minnesota. They're amazing. They have a powder that will stop a small cut to a large wound. And then other basic N95 mask, just basic other safety stuff. But that is the carrot. That is the carrot. The carrot is to get the kids involved. And that's really important because 76%, do you have children?
I do. I have three.
Okay, well then you're going to understand this. 76% of parents are worried about their kids' fears, anxiety, depression, potential suicide. Suicide has tripled over the last few years. Kids are worried, is there going to be a planet for me to live on? Am I going to get shot? Am I going to be bullied in school? Am I going to be harassed online? Am I going to go to school? Am I going to be able to get a job? My kids, now they're in their late 50s because I'm 77. So they're in their late 50s. My kids never had to worry about that. And my grandkids never had to worry about all that. So our goal is to help kids become empowered because mental health experts agree that the best way for kids to overcome those fears and anxieties is to empower them and become activists. So the second part of the program is our Young Voices Big Impact Ambassador Program. So when we go into, and this is all community based. So wherever you are, this is going to be coming to your town. And we're asking kids to submit 13 to 17 a 1 minute video about why they want to be the Kids for Kids spokesperson in their community. And then we have everybody's involved with us in that community vote on a boy and a girl, those are number one ambassadors. But now what do we have? We have an army of kids that have said they want to be involved, they want to be empowered. And what can we do with those kids? We can empower them to become something magnificent in their community. And we can address all kinds of issues, not just disasters and not just being prepared, but all kinds of mental health issues. What happens when you're a foster child? What happens when you're adopted? What happens if you don't have money for shoes? All those kinds of things can become a part of what we're calling our community recipient voices, which is our kids. So I know that's a little bit long description, but that's that's where we are. And we just launched our first event last week. It's taken me 3.5 years, Bubba, to get to this point, and it more than met my expectations. And we're partnered with a nonprofit, which is a global nonprofit. They're not really heard of outside of Las Vegas, but they're well known here, called Opportunity Village. And they provide life skills and job skills for people that are on the spectrum or have developmental issues. They put the kits together. So what we did is, even though it says kits for kids, this kit's for anybody that needs a kit, right? And that's everybody. So we had the first recipients be the people that put the kits together. And it was heartwarming. It was, I mean, I was in tears. I lasted till the end, but then I lost it. But the goal is to really help us educate the communities around the country. I have people waiting for me to bring this out to them. And I have to say, it's very humbling to know that um, people they're not just accepting this; they are embracing it. So I cannot wait to come to South Dakota and to go to Florida and to go to Texas and to go to. I have people waiting in Colorado and I have people waiting in Nebraska and Oregon and Washington. They all want these kits. So that's why I wanted to reach out to you. We had an amazing, I know it was, I forget which group it was, but whatever group we were on, I was like, yeah, this is a guy because you're taking care of veterans, and veterans are a big part of this. And again, the kit is nothing more than the carrot because what I learned when I was doing my advisory council people is that adults are busy. They know they need to be prepared. But it's called, FEMA calls it preparedness procrastination. It's just like everybody knows they need to have a will, and only 50% of us do. It's because we have to think about being prepared or we have to think about dying. So this is the carrot to help the veterans, to help the adults. My ultimate goal is to help 30 million people be better prepared and more sustainable.
I love it, Connie. And I love that you're long-winded. You make my job very easy. You might have run through the whole show right there. Um,
Uh-oh, I'm sorry.
no, it's beautiful. You're so passionate about what you're doing, and I'm so happy for you to finally see them in the hands of individuals and to see, like you said, not just, excited about it, but engaging and really thrilled to put it out there and to go out there. I think what you're giving people is you're conquering fear, not with you're conquering fear with confidence, right? You're replacing that feeling with the feeling of confidence, with preparedness, right? And that's how we feel confident is when we feel prepared. And I think that's the only way that you can do it. And it's so great to How do you get confident adults, right? Well, you don't wait till they're an adult, and then man, that's why we have kids sports, right? I think kids
Right.
sports is a
That's a
big
great
reason to build
example.
confidence in their skills and things. So why not take that to all the other facets? Why not take it to their health and their well-being and their preparedness in case of an emergency? Because it's very easy to be paralyzed by fear, and I'm sure in your vast experience that you've seen that plenty. Even the most prepared people, even if they haven't had the experience, right, that they can still you can be as prepared as you want to, but not having put your hands on the tools, the kits or whatever they may be, you're still going to be overcome with that, not knowing what to do. And I feel like you are starting this at the very bottom, like you said, with a very tasty carrot. Look at these kits that are going to help parents feel more secure sending their child to school every day. We just had another one, and just at tragic events. And the way we overcome that is by everyone being more confident and more prepared in their lives. And these kits are going to be a great tool to bring people into that world. And then, of course, they can find more of your courses and things from there to help them be even more prepared for life and disaster and emergencies.
Well, I know you do a lot of work with veterans, and there's a lot of PTSD, a lot of mental health issues. And one of the things I want to do is to bring in the veterans and to bring in most of them have kids if they're married, and give them a sense of I can help my children. I can help, and that's going to help their self-esteem. It's going to help them deal with everything that they have to deal with. And so I mean, I see it so largely encompassing. And we're going to have kits for seniors, kits with people with disabilities. We're going to have kits for pets. Um, and I don't know, you and I need to talk about maybe a kit for veterans.
Yes, and we would love that. Obviously, Operation Combating Veteran Suicide, you see the sign behind me here, is so near and dear to our hearts, and we have a mission there. And I think speaking of missions, that's probably why we have the numbers that we do. 22 a day are taking their own lives in this country because they feel like when they get out that they no longer have a mission. They no longer have a team that's behind them or that they're fighting for as well. So we would love to talk about how our veterans can team up to even putting kids together or doing whatever we can, delivering them into the schools and being to give them a mission as well. I think that's a beautiful thing,
Absolutely.
Connie.
Absolutely. I'm 100% for it. And I believe there's going to be another conversation after this.
Mhm. Yeah, of course. There's always another conversation to be had. Connie, is there anything that you didn't cover?
Well, I think the most important thing is to know what you need to do to be prepared. And I'll give you my contact information if somebody wants to get a copy of my digital book, When the Unthinkable Happens, Be Prepared, Be Ready. It has everything broken down, everything from the planning to the preparedness to what to do to survive, and it has resources in it. So my email address is Connie, spelled CONIMEYERS at Be Prepared, Be Ready. And if you send me an email, I will send you a free copy.
Fantastic. Is that .com, Connie?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
sorry, it's .org. It's .org.
.org.
Be
Okay, so be
prepared, be ready
prepared, be
.org.
ready. .org.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, Connie, I am sorry that I was a little bit late getting in with you today. I'm so happy that you called me and we got to have this conversation. We cannot wait to work with you. I will be sending you an email as soon as we get off of this call so I can get my free book, and we'll definitely be encouraging everyone else to do the same. Connie Meyers, thank you again for coming on the program today, and thank you
Thank
for
you for
being part of
having
the
me.
scene. Oh, it's
Thank
my
you.
pleasure. Absolute pleasure. You're going to come back soon and tell us how everything's been going, and we're going to get updates from you a couple times a year. So you stay in touch.
Okay, sounds great, Bubba. Thank you so much for having me.